G'day, George Halkias here, National Coach of the Street Soccer Program. Today we're going to focus on having guests at training, emceeing and facilitating guests and sharing information. As you know, we have a great street soccer program of participants who love the game, but it's also a fantastic opportunity to share information with them. One thing you need to do is really identify the right speaker. So you should have done your research to ensure that you get the right information, the right messages across. Critical part to it is making contact with them, informing them of what the street soccer program is about, telling them about what to expect when they come to training, and clearly identifying the key themes and messages that you want them to share with the players. Describe the environment to your speaker and what they should expect. So talk a little bit about the nature of the players, their level of concentration, their ability to listen and to take in information, and also explain where in that session they'll fit in. Are there opportunities for players to ask questions, or at the end of it, are there opportunities for players to thank the speaker? But most importantly, think about where the speaker will fit in the context of the session. Is it best to do it at the introduction before the players play? Or perhaps it's better to play and introduce the individual and get them involved in training and then allow them to speak at the end of the session so a rapport is being built. But so important that you really prepare the session accordingly. When you're talking to the group, it's important that you're confident, you're relaxed, and you set the scene for what's going to happen. Think about your body language, think about your concentration, so the players get the vibe of what it's about and they can learn from you in that process. Best thing to do, of course, is introduce yourself and your role. So you take control of the moment, seize the moment, explain what we're doing at training today so the players are understanding of, they're going to receive a speech or a presentation, and establish that rapport. But more importantly, be relaxed, have fun, keep smiling, and the role of the MC is no different to any other session. A critical component of the presentation is the introduction. So you're obviously introducing your players to somebody new, somebody they've never met before, so it's important that A, you introduce them well, you inform them of what they're here to do, and you make them themselves, the speakers or presenters, feel comfortable and relaxed. Say the speaker's name and their topic and what they're going to talk about in a very strong, confident and relaxed way. It's important to give some short background to the individual, maybe something positive or even something funny, just to make them relax. Probably a good start after introducing them is to start clapping, so all the players to make them feel welcome and create a nice, warm and friendly environment. Some of your speakers will be able to speak for long periods of time, while others will need to draw the information out from questioning that you give them. So you start off asking the question, facing the individual who will be presenting, but then you finish looking at your players. So it's a critical part, so you having the control. Have the questions prepared or even written down or in your mind so you can get those themes and those messages that the players want. Think about the type of questions you asked. You might want to ask open-ended questions. Tell us about, how did you feel when? Can you tell us more about? Remember, sometimes people do find presenting and speaking to a large group challenging, so you have a critical role to play to make them feel comfortable and relaxed and able to share that information with the players. But you'll find that many of the players will want to ask questions, and probably all at once. So it's important that you do that in a relaxed manner and offer directive of whose turn it is to speak. And it's often good for them to stand up, advise the individual of their name and ask their question loudly. And because you're often in pretty difficult and noisy environments, it's often good to paraphrase or say the question out again so everybody can hear. It's really good when asking a question or even when you're concluding to pick up on a key point that your speaker raised. So it might be something that relates to most of your players or an individual player. So draw upon that point and say, as you've heard from our speaker, this is one of the key areas, and you'll find that your players might need you to help relate to a certain bit of information or a certain situation. So it's important that you draw sometimes the context from the speaker to something that the players can really understand. You thank the speaker and demonstrate your appreciation. You can do that in different ways. I love having one of the players do that because that gives them a level of responsibility, and also it comes from your group, the appreciation that they want to show. But it's often good to announce the end of the speech or presentation by telling your speaker that it might be the last question. You thank the speaker by looking at the audience themselves rather than the individual themselves. And also, if the speaker has disclosed some personal information or sensitive information, really again recognise that what they've done has been something special and difficult to do. So there you have it, fantastic session. We had Kirsty at training, initially speaking for 5 minutes or so about selling the magazine. The players were respectful, they listened carefully, and what's more importantly too is a few of them were interested in selling, so there was an opportunity for them to catch up with Kirsty at the end and think about the next steps ahead. So yeah, really went really well. I got to introduce Kirsty, the players were respectful, they asked questions. Our player Chris was able to come up and talk a little bit about his own personal experiences, which I thought was important to acknowledge that would have been difficult for him to do that. He also thanked Kirsty at the end of it, so it was great to have that player involvement. So it's up to you guys now. You have the opportunity to go out there and invite different people to your training, and it'll be as easy as that. Get out there and have some fun.